I call Chris Farfoy.
Very much, Mr Speaker. Quite often in this House we say it is a genuine pleasure to speak to the particular bill that we're speaking on, and it is a particular genuine pleasure to speak on the Statutes Amendment Bill. First, a disclaimer for those who are watching at home who might be interested in the Statutes Amendment Bill. I'm making use of my colleague Stuart Nash's table today, so if you see this Hawke's Bay rugby shirt behind me, it has nothing to do with me, as much as we do love the Hawke's Bay on this side of the House. I will take pleasure in saying that Wellington beat the Hawke's Bay 36-26 in the first round of the Mitre 10 Cup. But, oh, right, nothing useful as per usual from across that side of the House. I think it is useful to reflect on some of the comments from the last speaker that this government doesn't want to tie up unnecessarily any time in this House, that we want to make sure that we're being efficient in the House in the context of the Statutes Amendment Bill. But first, for those people who are actually interested in this bill, I think they might want to know what a Statutes Amendment Bill is. I know that a couple of speakers have mentioned it before, but I guess in English, from hearing what we've already heard today, it's a bit of a spring clean for the government. Anything that is untidy, an error, a technical error in legislation, something that has become outdated, something that is non-controversial can be changed in the Statutes Amendment Bill. And we've heard from numerous speakers that 28 pieces of legislation included in this Statutes Amendment Bill, which will have minor and small technical changes. And I did want to just put that in the context of not what is in this bill at the moment, but what could be. And that is baggage. And because if anyone has been paying attention to what has been happening in and around Parliament, for the members of Parliament, there is a bill in the members' ballot which was pulled for the Member of Parliament Nukurako, which is the Airport Authorities Publicising Lost Property Sales Amendment Bill. An absolute mega bill from the government. So important is this piece of legislation from Nook that they prioritised it by putting it in the members' ballot, and lo and behold, Nukurako was lucky enough to have this piece of legislation pulled from the ballot. So passionate about this piece of legislation was the government that, after embarrassment by coverage in the media, Jerry Brownlee tried to get it passed through all stages through the House in one foul swoop. That didn't happen, and now the government has to put up with the embarrassment that one of its own list MPs thinks that one of the massive priorities in this country right now is people's lost luggage. But that's actually not accurate. The bill isn't about lost luggage, it's about advertising the sale of lost luggage. So if I could just ask our friends in the media to be a little bit more precise in their reporting, it's not about lost luggage, it's when that luggage gets lost and the airport wants to sell it. At the moment, legally, only an airport can advertise in the newspaper. And Mr Kurako has travelled the country. He's spoken to thousands of people. I think he may have even had a petition. And he has thought so long and hard and is so passionate about this issue, about advertising lost luggage, that he thought it was a great idea to make this a members' bill. And so for the people at home, this has been pulled from the ballot. It will go to a select committee. Yes, a group of MPs of this House will sit around a table discussing lost luggage advertising. It will have officials look at the ramifications of this piece of legislation. It will have another reading in this House and potentially a third reading in this House, all because the government thinks that this is a massive piece, a massive priority for the country. But help is at hand. Because if the government is really concerned about this and wants to make sure that this piece of legislation that Nukurako is so passionate about, we can make it happen for him a lot sooner. Because we can make it part of this Statutes Amendment Bill, because it is non-controversial, it is minor, it doesn't change any major policy, perfect for a Statutes Amendment Bill. But I think we have to look at the approach that the government is taking with the members' bill's ballot, with the likes of Nuk Kurako's bill, with the like of Mr Ducey's bill, which I think means that companies will be able to email people instead of send them a letter when there are declarations of their annual accounts. That's another biggie. And the abuse of that process within this parliament. That members' bill ballot is there for members of the House all around this House to be able to put issues that are important to them and their communities up. And maybe I am wrong.
No, you're not.
Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe Nuk Kurako's community does think this is a big thing. Maybe he sent out his pamphlets as the National Party MPs do, and they ask which issues are important to you. Which party do you vote for? Do you know who I am? Do you want my newsletter? What is the big issue for you? And they came back with lost luggage. Maybe that is actually what happened, but I don't think that is the case. So back when his bill was passed and the government realised it was in a bit of trouble because the optics weren't good of lost baggage being in the headlines, I wrote to the government saying, hey guys, just chill. We can put this in a Statutes Amendment bill and it all happened really fast and I'll save you not only money, but potentially embarrassment.
Like this speech.
Thanks, Megan Woods. And this is the reply I got from Simon Bridges. Chris, thank you for your correspondence proposing the inclusion of Mr Kurako's airport authorities publicising lost property sales amendment bill in the Statutes Amendment bill. Your letter was forwarded to me as I'm the Minister in charge of this bill. As a member in charge of the airport authorities, it's a long name, bill, it is up to Mr Kurako to make decisions on how to progress his bill. And he was polite. Thank you for taking the time to write.
Look who's there.
So if Mr Kurako is serious about this bill and he's serious about saving time and money of this parliament, he'll just give up the game. Give up the game of wasting Parliament's time with the members' ballot and just agree to my supplementary order paper. Because we're from the opposition and we're here to help.
That's right.
And if the government thinks that lost baggage advertising is the most important thing it can put in the ballot, well, I think the government's got some issues with priorities. When the average house price in Auckland is $1 million, when homelessness is going through the roof, we get this piece of legislation through the members' bill. So, Mr Kurako, yep, it might help the odd airport around the place, and I've kind of questioned how much consultation you did with the airports, because I don't think they think it's a massive issue. But if you're really keen to make your change in New Zealand legislation with your members' bill, then take up the offer of our supplementary order paper, because we can save you lots of time and money. Two things that the government says it wants to make sure it does every day. But, Mr Speaker, it gets worse, because there are more members' bills that could potentially come through this process which are absolute stunners. I know we won't pick on him. But who have we got here? Maureen Pugh's Celebrant Eligibility Expansion Bill wait. It allows former justices of the peace to use the title JP retired. That's a biggie. That's a biggie. I won't pick on the member in the chair at the moment. Jackie Dean's Local Government Customer Focus Amendment Bill requires local authorities to promote a customer focus in the delivery of public services and regulatory functions and makes Chief Executive responsible for ensuring that happens. I would assume that's already happening. Now, Ian McKelvey's Sentencing Livestock Rustling Amendment Bill does sound exciting, but it adds livestock rustling to the list of aggravating factors to be taken into account at sentencing. Wow, that's a biggie. And usefully also defines livestock as, quote, animals kept as part of an agricultural operation, whether for commercial purposes or for private use. All of these types of bill which are in the ballot, Mr Speaker, could be in a Statutes Amendment bill. So my message to the government is get your priorities right. Get the spring cleaning done with a Statutes Amendment bill. Stop filling up the members' ballot with what I would call wasteful pieces of legislation that really are a bit of a joke. Really are a bit of a joke. So next time Simon Bridges is sitting down putting together a Statutes Amendment bill, I would suggest he looks at all the bills that National Party backbenchers have got in the members' ballot and says, guys, these are embarrassing. Let's put them in the Statutes Amendment bill, because at this stage we're looking like a joke.
Good stuff.
Paul,